The sun had barely broken through the mist when Lara stepped off the van onto the winding road that led into Sagada. After hours of zigzagging through the mountain ranges of the Cordillera, she finally arrived, tired, yet quietly thrilled. She had heard about Sagada from whispered stories of friends who spoke of pine-scented air, caves that echoed with history, and sunrises that felt like blessings. But none of those stories could have prepared her for the spirit of the place itself. Located in the mountain province in the northern Philippines, Sagada is a hidden gem nestled some 5,000 feet above sea level. It's a town where the clouds seem to live among the pine trees, drifting lazily through valleys and over rice terraces that have been cultivated for generations. As Lara walked through the narrow roads, she noticed something different: quiet. Unlike the noise and rush of the lowlands, Sagada was calm. The streets were lined with traditional wooden houses, many with stone chimneys, remnants of the American influence that introduced new architectural styles and even the English language to the region during the early 1900s. Her first stop was the hanging coffins of Echo Valley, a tradition that both fascinated and humbled her. A local guide named Kuya Noel explained, "These coffins you see hanging on the cliffside are part of an ancient Igorot burial practice. It's believed the higher the body is placed, the closer the soul is to the heavens." Some coffins, weathered and cracked, had been clinging to the limestone cliffs for over a century. Others looked newer, carved from pine wood and still bearing names in fading paint. Lara stood quietly, feeling the spiritual weight of the place. Not fear, but reverence. She joined a group of travelers for the trek to Sumaging Cave, Sagada's most famous underground wonder. The locals call it the Big Cave, and for good reason. Inside, the temperature dropped, and the darkness wrapped around them like a thick blanket. With only gas lamps and flashlights in hand, they descended into chambers filled with ancient stalactites and stalagmites that sparkled under drops of water. At one point, Lara had to remove her shoes and wade through ice-cold cave water that lapped at her knees. Her hands gripped the limestone walls for support as she slid down rock formations polished smooth by thousands of visitors. Kuya Noel pointed out natural formations with nicknames like the King's Curtain and the Bear's Paw. Proof of nature's slow, patient artistry. After the muddy thrill of the cave, the group returned to the village to eat. Sagada is famous not just for its landscapes, but for its local food scene, particularly its lemon pie, lovingly baked at the town's well-loved lemon pie house. With flaky crusts and tangy sweet filling made from real Sagada lemons, it was a dessert Lara would never forget. She paired it with a hot cup of Sagada coffee, grown in the surrounding hills, its taste earthy, slightly nutty, and unmistakably local. The next morning, she woke up at 4 a.m. to join other travelers for a pre-dawn trek to Kiltepan viewpoint. The trail was misty and quiet. Flashlights danced on the dirt path as feet crunched over dry leaves. By the time they reached the summit, the sky had begun to blush with light. Then, almost magically, a sea of clouds rolled beneath them. The sun, golden and soft, slowly rose above the peaks like a secret being revealed. The crowd went silent. Then someone whispered, This is why people come to Sagada." But beyond the famous spots, Lara found the real magic in the people. The locals, many of them from the Kankanai tribe, spoke proudly of their culture, of their rice harvests, rituals, and resistance against colonization. The town's Episcopal Church of St. Mary the Virgin, built in 1904, stood as a symbol of Sagada's unique history, where indigenous beliefs blended with Christian practices in peaceful coexistence. In the afternoons, Lara would walk through rice terraces and chat with farmers. In the evenings, she'd sit by the fire in her guest house, sharing food and stories with fellow travelers from across the world. When it was finally time to leave Sagada, Lara felt a tug in her heart. She stood outside her van one last time, breathing in the cool, pine-scented air, watching the clouds drift slowly across the mountains like time itself refusing to hurry. Sagada is not just a destination, she realized. It's a place that slows you down, grounds you, and reminds you that silence can be sacred and nature can be home. And as the van rolled down the winding roads once more, Lara made a quiet promise. She would return. Not just to explore again, but to remember who she became while listening to the whispers in the clouds.
In this big wide world, stories yet untold. In this big wide world, dreams of gold unfold. Footsteps on the sand, holding to your hand, dancing with the band, life at our command. In this big wide world, stories yet untold. In this big wide world, dreams of gold unfold.